Welcome to this week's episode of Drive and Deliver with me, Atlanta Delivers. If you don't know me already, my name's Atlanta and I'm a delivery driver for Just Eat, Uber Eats and Deliveroo mainly. And then I also do have GoFit and Beelivery, which I've started to use again because I've got back into delivering full time recently, which I'm absolutely loving. I've been a delivery driver for 4.5 years now, which is absolutely crazy. And 3.5 years of that I have delivered in a car, and I also spent a year on electric bikes. If you enjoy this episode, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm getting so close to 10,000 subscribers now, only a few hundred to go. So please hit that subscribe button. Let's see how quick we can get there. It'll be absolutely amazing. And also, if you can leave a comment down below, that really helps support me because it helps to boost the video. So leave a comment throughout this video as well. And then a couple more things before we get started. Follow my Instagram, Atlanta Delivers, where I update my life daily. And also you can become a member on this channel. Link down below. You can't sign up on the phone, only on the desktop. And it means you can view my videos 24 hours early, as I upload every Sunday at 10 a.m. a delivery video. So you can view that Saturday instead. And also a podcast episode every other Wednesday at 6 p.m, which you can see on a Tuesday. Today's episode is very kindly sponsored by Rodeo, and if you don't know Rodeo, then it's linked down below. It is an app, it's free, and it tracks all your earnings. So on Just Eat, Uber Eats, GoFit, and then I think there's Stuart, there's a couple of others that I don't use also. So you can track all your earnings in one place, and it shows you all your statistics, which are really interesting. So a breakdown, say, of you can do it by week or by month or by year. So I can look at, say, last week, how much did I earn last week altogether delivering? How much did I earn per hour on average? I can see a breakdown of every delivery of how much I made per minute, the miles I did. Like, there's so much on it. It's really cool. And also you can interact with other drivers. There's a forum where all the drivers speak, so if you need any information or want to find stuff out, then you've got that section as well. They've made that app really interactive, and they're also running different competitions, such as one that ended last week of how much average pay did we get on Just Eat last year, so 2023 compared to 2022. Let me know what you think. I'll give you a second to comment down below whether you think the pay went up on average last year or went down. So last year's, I will tell you, 2022 was an average of £6.13, and also this competition, the winner got £50 as well. Someone did get it right. So last year, 2023, it dropped by 8.8%, giving an average of £5.59 per order. So our pay is still dropping, which isn't great, but it's great that on this app you can see all of this stuff, and it's very interesting. Let's talk about how much do we get paid. So all the apps are quite similar to each other, I would say. So I know definitely, I'll read the statements in a minute, but Uber Eats and Deliveroo pay you from the restaurant to the customer, not to the pickup. But Just Eat has had a change, I've noticed recently, and this has been brought up on my Facebook delivery group, also linked down below, and on the Rodeo app as well. All of us drivers do notice changes. So on Just Eat, normally you'd get paid from where you are to the pickup, and then from the pickup to the customer, which Just Eat is always averaged at the highest because of that, I would say. But I've noticed recently, and everyone else has, that we're not getting paid now to drive to the pickup. They're like the other apps now, and we're not getting paid that extra, which is rather frustrating because it means our pay is going to have dropped. I would say all of the apps, if you are far away from the pickup, the pay does slightly increase, but not by a large amount, and not like Just Eat used to do, where you were paid the whole distance to the pickup. So I'll read you now. So Just Eat, this is the way that we get paid according to Just Eat. Just Eat say they pay the riders for each order you are offered a transit pay, which is determined by several factors, including the estimated driving distance, time to complete delivery, traffic route, etc. So in theory, if the roads are busy, we're going to be paid more. If the weather, all these factors, in theory, the pay should be increased. And at times that are quiet on the roads, or if you're going far, you're going to be paid more. in theory, in like rush hour, you'll be paid more because it's going to take longer, which I don't know if I've noticed. I suppose the pay does go up a bit in the evening, but I've never really thought about it in that way. Then Deliveroo says riders get paid for each delivery they make. The exact delivery fee varies per order and includes a variable distance fee. Deliveroo also says Deliveroo riders are currently paid the national living wage plus costs while on an order, although most riders earn significantly more than this. This pay floor will be guaranteed as part of the agreement and will be discussed with the GMB union. Now, I'm not sure about that. That's saying we get paid minimum wage. And I'm sure some of you guys would agree that you definitely don't. I don't see how they could make that possible anyway, because we're paid per order. So if you only do one order for, say, £3, they're not making that up to the difference. I suppose they're saying as whilst you're on an order. So if you were to do orders constantly, it would work out as above minimum wage. Not sure about that. And then Uber doesn't have anything online about how we get paid. But as I said, distance from the pickup to the customer, slight increase the further away you are from the pickup. But they don't have anything else online. And yeah, we're not really told when anything changes, which we probably should, but us drivers do notice. Also on that note, all the apps do offer boosts as well. So when there's bad weather or they're really busy and they need more drivers to encourage you, they do put on boosts on all the apps so that you earn more. Just Eat's the least of this. They have like a little, normally it's like a 50p boost per order on your shift. But Deliveroo and Uber, if it gets busy, they just put on a boost. Rodeo released data that in 2022, the pay had dropped still, which means that was 2 years consecutively that the pay had dropped. They're about to soon release the data for last year, but I assume that will have dropped again, sadly. And how is our pay still going down? Like, with the cost of living, everything going up in price, like minimum wage going up, our pay is still dropping, which is crazy. Like, what can we do? I don't know. I've seen is it tomorrow? When I'm filming this, tomorrow, so when you watch this last week, I believe that a lot of riders are doing a delivery strike again for Deliveroo, which I'm not getting involved in. Personally, I don't want to get involved in strikes, as I don't think it's really going to make a difference. But I suppose it puts our point across that our pay needs to go up, but I'm not getting involved. Now to answer a few quickfire questions. So the first one, what app pays the best? Now, I know I just said that was Just Eat about how the pay has changed, but I still believe Just Eat is the highest pay out of the apps. What does a good order fee mean? Now, there's a few things to this, and I think everyone would class a good order fee very differently to each other. So you've got one thing of, if your pay is high, that could be a good order fee, but I'd say that as long as that's compared to the miles. So if you had an order for £10 but you're going 15 miles, I don't think that's very good. But if you had £10 and you're going 5 miles, I think that's good. I like to average at the lowest at £1 per mile. I like to do better than that, and if I'm below that, I'm not very happy, as I don't think that's very good. Now, a good order fee also, mine will be different to quite a lot of people, that I like doing the shopping orders. If you watch my video, the Tesco Wooshes, the Co-ops, all of those, but they are generally lower pay because the distances are short, but the pickups are quick. That's also something to take into consideration, I believe, that if the pickups are quick and you're not waiting around, you're getting that order done quickly. But a negative I have kind of come to a realisation of recently is that even though like these £3 orders, I can probably only do 4 maximum in an hour. That's only £12 in an hour. That's just about minimum wage, but I'm paying for my fuel as well, so you're going to be minimum wage. So is it that good? I'm not sure. I've been quite enjoying recently the longer distances, especially because my Just Eat area has been extended recently. I'm being sent out of where I usually go to Shoreham and Brighton, and that pay has generally been higher. So yeah, that's a good order fee to me. Let me know what you think. What's your good order fee, in quotations, of what are you happy with when you get an order? Should there be more transparency about how fees are calculated and when there is changes? Like I said, we do notice as drivers, we discuss it on the radio app and my Facebook delivery group and other groups as well. We do discuss it and we do notice, and we're not told. Normally these changes are only negative. There's not really that many positive changes, which would be nice. I mean, maybe very occasionally, like, I don't even know as an example. They're normally negative and we do notice. Now let's talk about some of my statistics from the radio app, which I personally, I'm sure if you've watched other episodes of the podcast, I find statistics very interesting, and when I do research into stuff, I find them very interesting. So if you find it interesting, check out your statistics as well. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Uber Eats, an app that I've been loving a lot more in the past few months, mainly because of the Tesco wishes, but just in general, I have been enjoying it a lot more. My average Uber fee in 2022 was £3.99, and this is a positive statistic, which I'm happy about. In 2023, my average fee increased by 4.2% to £4.16 average per order. So that's positive. My pay has gone up on Uber Eats. Saying that, my Just Eat average went down, but is still higher than Uber Eats. In 2022, my average Just Eat fee was £5.83, and this dropped by 7% down to £5.42. Now, obviously, that is still higher pay, but the pay has dropped, so is that a good thing? No. So this figure I think is pretty crazy. Like, I expecting it to drop, but not by this much. So this is how many people tipped on the app on Uber, like the percentage. So in 2022, it was 15.2% of orders I was tipped on, which isn't great, obviously. That's like 15 in 100, but not horrendous. But in 2023, this dropped by 55%, down to 6.8%. So 6 in 100 or 7 in 100 tipped. Like, that has dropped a lot. I knew it would have dropped, but that is quite low. And I think it's even lower now. Like, I don't ever see tips come through on Uber anymore. Let me know if you do, because honestly, I don't know the last time I got tipped on the app on Uber. It doesn't seem to exist. Now, these statistics are quite interesting as well. So this is my top 4 merchants that I picked up from. It was quite surprising, so I'm going to read it in reverse order from my screen. 4th place is McDonald's, that I picked up from, with 6.9% of my deliveries being from there, an average fee of £4.75, and the average distance being 2.88 miles. In 3rd place is Subway, with 7.4% of my deliveries being from there, an average of £4.72 per order, and the average distance being 1.33 miles. In 2nd place is Tesco, woo, my favourite, with 9.8% of my deliveries being from there, an average fee of £4.65, and my average distance of 2.17 miles. The average is higher than I thought, because they're normally like the low paying orders. So £4.65 isn't bad as an average at all, and higher than I thought. And then in 1st place, did shock me actually, is KFC. I don't realise how many KFCs I've done, but apparently it is. 24.7% of my deliveries have been KFC. Like a quarter, that's crazy. With an average fee of £5.10 and an average distance of 1.75 miles. That is crazy, the amount of KFCs I must have done. I remember during COVID times doing a lot of KFC, but I've not realised how many I've done recently, and that pay averages at the highest as well. I now have my best order and worst order from 2022 and 2023 combined. So my best order was from Subway. It paid me £3.47, took me 2 minutes 55 seconds, paying £1.19 a minute for 0.4 miles, which averages at £8.70 per mile, and I did that at 11:15 in the morning. And my worst order, can you guess? McDonald's. Where do you reckon your worst was from? That doesn't surprise me at all that it is McDonald's. And that was paying £4.09. It took me 33 minutes 54 seconds, working out at 12p a minute for 4.6 miles, which works out at 89p per mile at 8:50 in the morning. So that is below my £1 per mile, 89p per mile. Not happy with that. Took a long time. Not a good order. I'm now going to talk about some of the similarities and differences from Just Eat, Deliveroo and Uber Eats. So Just Eat versus Uber Eats versus Deliveroo. What's the same and what is different? As spoken on this episode so far, the pay structure is very similar between the three apps of how we're paid, and the different factors involved, that is very similar to each other. To do with tips specifically, Uber Eats and Deliveroo you can tip on the app. Just Eat you can't tip on the app, it's only cash in person. But there is a section now on our Just Eat app that does show tips. I don't believe it's yet in place that customers can do it, but it's showing, so in theory that is going to start. Deliveroo is the only app with tips that you can see once you've picked up the order. It will tell you straight away if you have a tip or not. Uber Eats only tells you after you've completed the order and like an hour or so after, which I do like if it tells you on delivery beforehand, because when I get to the customer I can say thank you for the tip, very much appreciated. And it's just nice to say thank you to the person that's tipped, because on Uber, that person could have tipped, but we can't see it, so you're not saying thank you. One thing that is similar, that I think is getting more like each other as time goes on, is that apps have similar restaurants and shops like to each other. So if like, say, that was a really bad example I was just going to go for, let's say Co-op is on Uber, Just Eat and Deliveroo, I want to say that, and yeah, it's becoming more common for them to be across the same apps. Some are coming out, such as KFC, well, Deliveroo leaving KFC, but there is more and more that are just on the same as each other. I suppose, I don't know, Deliveroo have changed that now that they've added like a shopping section, so they've added Screwfix has joined now, and No Two Ways has just joined, which is a trainer brand run by a YouTuber. They just joined, so you can order that on Deliveroo now. So it's kind of changing, but I'd say for the most part it's very similar to each other. I would say that Just Eat has the most differences out of the apps. Now, a few of those include Just Eat you have to have shifts, whereas Deliveroo and Uber you can go online wherever and whenever, and Just Eat is a specific area. But they are trialling in certain areas now the no shifts, which personally I very much like. I would love there to be no shifts, because it's just a pain to pick up shifts. In theory, it's there so that the orders are split evenly, but Deliveroo and Uber work absolutely fine with no shifts. So I'm hoping that they go, and it'd be nice, I suppose, if the area goes as well. Just Eat is one that once you accept an order, it's very hard to get rid of the order. Now, Uber Eats and Deliveroo, if you accept it and you want to get rid of it before you've picked up the order, it's very easy to get rid of. You don't need to talk to anyone. It's just a button. Whereas Just Eat, you have to talk on an online chat. And then in recent times, this has been very hard to contact someone. Like I've seen on my group and stuff that people have ended up with orders for hours. Like they've turned up to a pickup, the restaurant's shut, and they need to get rid of the order, and no one's responded for hours. So they can't actually continue working because they've got this order, but they can't actually do the order. Just Eat is also the only app to pay for waiting time. So after 10 minutes, you are paid per minute. Now, I haven't had any waiting time pay in a long time, so please let me know what it is now. But before it was 20p per minute after 10 minutes. I'm not sure what it is now, but the other apps don't pay any waiting time. Just Eat is also the only app that we are shown an acceptance rate and it affects us. So once you go to accept an order, it shows your percent out of 100%. So it is based on your last 10 orders. So if I decline 2 orders in a row out of my last 10, my percent is going to be 80%, and the lower the percent is, the less likely you are to get an order. Whereas Deliveroo and Uber Eats both say that you can decline as much as you want and it's not going to affect you, which I do believe is true. A similarity between the apps is that all of the apps you can do a double order. This has only changed in recent times. So Just Eat and Deliveroo, you can do 2 orders at once. Uber Eats, you can do a triple, which I'm not sure about. I'm still not sure about the whole triple orders. I think it's too much. It's not worth it pay-wise as well. But we have triple orders, and it's recently changed that on all the apps, that once you accept a first order, before on Just Eat and Deliveroo, you couldn't add a second order whilst you were delivering. Before, it was Just Eat, once you've accepted your order, another one couldn't be added. Deliveroo could add another one when you got to the restaurant, and Uber's always been there, you can add on a second one. But it's now that all three of them, that you can add another one when you're on the way to the first one, which personally I like. Happy with that. And lastly, a difference on Deliveroo is that when you get to the pickup, you can click in the top right to see the estimated time that the order's supposed to be ready, and it's also the only app that you can report a long waiting time. So if you're waiting there for a few minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, you can press that you are waiting just to update. I think it just updates Deliveroo that you are there and you're waiting. Now to talk about some of the changes that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks. Some of these have come from my Facebook delivery group, so shout out to you guys for commenting these, as they may be changes that I might not have noticed, and it's good to get it from everyone's opinion rather than just my own. So someone posted in my group that one of the changes on Just Eat is, well, two things actually. They've had to start entering on some orders the customer's date of birth. Now at the minute you just have to, there's not that many age restricted orders on Just Eat, but if you do at the minute you just press over 20, look over 25 or something like that, and you don't enter the date of birth, whereas Deliveroo and Uber Eats you have to enter the customer's date of birth. But now this person is saying on Just Eat they've had it. I did have an age restricted order the other day and it wasn't on mine, but I guess it's something they're trialling and might be put into place. And it was also said that someone had to take a picture of when they dropped off a Just Eat order, which you can do on Uber now, but I've not yet seen on Just Eat. Another change, as I have just mentioned, is to do with Deliveroo shopping section. There are now noti ways on there and screw fixes on there. And then a change for me, more specifically for myself, as briefly mentioned as well, is my Just Eat area has expanded, which I am loving. It's giving me more work, more pay, and yeah, I'm happy with that. Let me know if anyone's from my area in Worthing in the comments, and if you've done any deliveries over in Shoreham and Brighton now. Another change for myself specifically is I've been delivering on GoFit and Beelivery again. Now I'm delivering more, which I also have been very much enjoying. And then I recently, a few weeks ago now, no, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. Oh, January went so quick. I can't believe it's February. My car insurance renewed and I'm with Admiral, and I've stuck with Admiral. I have previously been with Zego before, and I thought I'll get a quote from Zego just to see how much it is, just in case it works out better for some reason. They wanted £1.90 an hour, which is crazy high. I've never paid this much before. £330 for Hire and Reward Unlimited for the month. Absolutely crazy. And then for third party fire and theft and Hire and Reward insurance, they wanted £858 a month. £858. I was like, are you having a laugh? That could never be made worthwhile. £858 a month. That's absolutely mental. Some people have also been saying that they can't even get delivery insurance. The prices have gone up, everyone's noticed. And some people can't even seem to get it now for some reason. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm happy sticking with my Admiral. I pay £180 a month, which is, it's not great, but it could be worse, and I have paid more in the past. And one last thing I saw in my Facebook delivery group was to do with a service called Sainsbury's Chop Chop. Now, this is similar to Tesco Wish deliveries that you order on Sainsbury's directly, and then it's delivered by Uber Eats Direct or Stewart. This service has been around since 2020, but recently they have added more places. My area's not on it yet, but there has been a lot more places added recently. And just in case you don't know, Uber Eats Direct is when, say you order on Uber and there's like a priority so that the driver doesn't pick up another order. That is what Uber Eats Direct is, and what you will get from if you order on Sainsbury's Chop Chop. Now moving on to a delivery story of mine. Obviously delivering for many years now. A lot of stories have happened, things have happened. If you haven't seen the other episodes of the podcast, make sure to listen, as I've told a lot of delivery stories. I'm just going to go with one this week, as we're talking about lots of other stuff and there's still a lot more exciting things that I'm going to be talking about, but I'm going to tell you about one of them. So last March, this is to do with my clumsiness, I'm a clumsy person, by the way. Last March I was delivering, or April, delivering in my hometown in Uckfield where my parents live, and I had my electric bike, my Zumo bike. I have still got it, by the way. And I was doing an order, went to the pickup at McDonald's, realised as I got there, turned off my bike, went to get my key, realised my key was not there, which is the way to turn on the bike. And yeah, looked everywhere at McDonald's and the area, it wasn't there. Walked like a couple of miles from where I cycled the last drop off and back. Couldn't see it anywhere. I had to get my dad to come down, and he's just got one of his cars is like a little Honda Jazz. We had to get the bike into there because you can't really ride it because it locks, and it's heavy to ride without the assistance, or heavier, it's not heavy, but heavier to ride without assistance. We had to like really squeeze it into my dad's car. Luckily I realised when I got back to where I live, I do actually have a spare key, but that is like an hour from where my parents live. But that was a nightmare. Now I'm going to talk about some behind the scenes, that things that you may not know as a customer, or maybe not as a driver as well. So again, thank you to the people in my delivery group that I have spoken to, and I'm going to put this first one into quotations. Restaurants don't care enough to make any effort to keep food warm or make it in good time. When your food turns up cold, sometimes this isn't the driver's fault. So yeah, that is true. Obviously sometimes it can be the driver's fault if they don't put it in a bag and so on, or a multi-apping. But sometimes when you get to a pickup, your order's not being kept in the heat. It can be ready, it's not being kept in the heat, it can be sitting on the side, such as McDonald's orders, just sat on the side waiting. Your food's getting cold, don't know how long it's been there. And that also can be for ice creams as well. So your ice cream could be melted by the time the driver gets there and picks it up. It's already melted, and that isn't the driver's fault. I saw a clip the other day on London Eats on Instagram, I think it was, and it was he was picking up from like this phone shop, and there was just orders just everywhere getting cold, and yeah, so sometimes that isn't the driver's fault. Another comment said about how some drivers have multiple accounts or are renting other drivers' accounts, which both of these aren't allowed. And now I have spoken about in another episode to do with how it's going to become much stricter, to do with you're not allowed to be a substitute on someone else's account. And that's going to stop, because at the minute people are renting accounts who can be illegal immigrants, which isn't great that this is in place. But this is getting stricter, and someone sent me a message a couple of days ago saying that in their area they had immigration officers turn up. There was 15 of them, and they were checking all the delivery riders, including this guy himself got checked. He was absolutely fine, but he said it was quite scary, and they were checking all the drivers. So just be wary if you are doing something illegally, that you're going to get caught probably at some point, and is it really worth risking it? That's your decision, I suppose, but it is getting more stricter. Now to talk about some statistics that I find very interesting. I'm going to link the links down below in case you want to look at it in more detail, but it's to do with the Q4 trading update. First of all, I'm going to talk about Deliveroo's Q4 trading update, and I'm going to read it from here so I don't mess up any figures. So it's just been released, and it was positive for Deliveroo. The UKI, which I believe is UK and Ireland, gross transactional value has increased 7% year on year, and internationally has increased 1%, which gives us an average of 4% increase, which is good. It's still going up, and that is on track for what they wanted. And also this gives us a group revenue of plus 1% year on year. There was 7.3 million active users in Q4 on Deliveroo, which is That's a lot of people ordering on Deliveroo. And Deliveroo said their adjusted gross transactional value is in line with guidance, and the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization are slightly ahead. So that is positive. But that was also the same for Just Eat. So now Just Eat's Q4 trading updates. North Europe and UK and Ireland exited 2023 at its highest ever quarterly gross transactional value level, which I think that's crazy. How can that be the highest ever? I don't know, that's crazy to me. Q4 was also the best quarter of the year, which also I think is crazy. And the growth was in line with guidance, the same as Deliveroo. The adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization are ahead of guidance, expected to be approximately 320 million euros, and the free cash flow was approximately break even in half two of 2023, in line with guidance. So, in summary, both of those are very similar, that they're either on track or slightly ahead. So that's good, I suppose. I believe all the three of them, there wasn't an Uber update, I'm afraid, but I believe all of them stay pretty similar with each other. I remember when it was put out that all of them were making a loss. So I think they all stay fairly similar to each other. Now to answer some of your questions that you have asked me. So appreciate any questions you have, pop them down below. It is very helpful and gives me something to talk about. So the first one is, did you find you were tipped more on the bike, or do you get more in the car, and do you feel that Uber sometimes doesn't give the tip? Now, I'd like to think that Uber gives us all the tips. That would be pretty bad if they don't, but I guess there's no way of really telling. But I'd like to hope that that isn't true, that they take any. I believe that if someone's going to tip, they've already decided beforehand if they're going to tip or not. So I don't think it was much difference when I was on the bike compared to the car. Maybe a tiny bit, that someone, if I cycle far, they'll be like, oh my, you've cycled all the way here type thing. But I think it doesn't really make a difference on what type of vehicle you're on or in. Will I go back to the bike? Now, I have been debating this recently. I wouldn't go fully on the bike like I did before, but potentially I would swap one of my accounts over to a bike, so then I have bike videos and car videos, and it's nice to get out on the bike. Let me know if you'd like to see that again. I'd probably, if I'd change over Deliveroo to a bike, but it would affect my earnings because I wouldn't have all three apps at once. But then, yeah, I'm not too sure. Let me know. And I am considering it at the moment. Now, I have a question for you actually, and I will answer it myself, but what's your highest paying day? So now my most is £330 in a day. It was during COVID times, and I believe that was between 12 and a 14-hour shift, but still worked out very good hourly. Definitely couldn't do that pay anymore, sadly. But that was my highest, and let me know what yours was. And the final question, what's the best insurance to go with for hire and reward? So as a delivery driver, you need hire and reward insurance. I have got a full video on this. If you go into my top videos, it's one of the top videos, or the top video maybe even. And I will do an updated version of it as well. But I would say if you're going to go part-time, most likely use Zego, as you can pay hourly, you don't have to pay monthly, which is a great option, and hopefully it's not as expensive as mine. Mine just has gone crazy and I'm not sure why, but I'd say that's your best option. Full time, have a shop around of the different companies and see what's the best. Basically, there's not a definitive answer to that question. And that concludes today's episode of Drive and Deliver with me, Atlanta Delivers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Go check out Rodeo. I've popped them in the description. Go download it. It's free. There's competitions where you can win money. You can see all your statistics, which I think personally is very interesting, and it keeps you on track knowing what you've earned in the past week or the past 2 weeks, the past month, whatever. You can keep it, you can see everything, which is really cool. And I will see you Sunday at 10 a.m. with a new video, a delivery video. Unless you become a member, come support me. Love you all. Bye.